Hey, what's up everyone? How you guys doing? Danny Lighting here. We got Maxthegamer joining us today, so we're going to be answering some questions and just chatting and talking about the game and all kinds of good stuff like that. How's everyone doing this morning? I see we got Michael J, we got Jedi, we got Leroy, Short Circuit, we got Melon, we got Damone, hey, William D, Angel. Who else is here today? We got Chrissy. What's up, Chrissy? We got Mark Bass. Hey. We got Leroy in the house. We got K Family. Who else? I have. What's going on, buddy? I see Guy. We got Guy. We got Yuri. David Shiv. Nice to see you guys. Damone says, what's up, Max?
Hey. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a great weekend.
All right, so can you guys hear everything okay? Is Max loud enough? I'm pretty sure I'm loud enough, so. Do I need to turn Max up, or is he good, guys? I can't really monitor the stream when I got guests, so it's a little hard to know what all the volume levels sound like exactly, but. Jedi says, happy Labor Day. Yeah, man, same to you guys.
Yep,
we got a holiday
guys, in the
weekend.
US, it's Labor Day, so happy Labor Day weekend.
All right. Hopefully everybody's weekend is amazing so far. El says, sounds great. What's up, L. Herbert? How you doing today? The Moon says, sound is perfect. Nice. LOL says, Danny and Max, what up? Not much. How you doing? So I'm going to go into the 12.0 live racing lobby. Bernie says, good morning. I just felt owned by you at least this much to come to one of your lives. Okay, I'm dyslexic. I'm sorry. I can't read. Awesome to have you here, Bernie. Thank you for showing up to the live stream. Yeah, hopefully everybody's holiday weekend's going really good so far. So yeah, I'm going to go into the live racing setup for 12.0 today with the crazy little Subaru. I'm going to try and keep track of whose win it is and all that good stuff. All right.
If you guys have some questions about upcoming stuff, that's why we're here. It looks like we got some events about to go live, particularly a big one, and that's going to be the American American Road Trip. This is version number 4, I believe. Or whatever. It's been a few years of American Road Trip every year, so interesting event depending on how they set it up. And we should have some really nice cars coming out of this.
K Family has just started playing CSR. Well, welcome to the game and welcome to the live stream. But yeah, it's going to be another one of those bigger events that tries to take all of your money.
Of course.
Fun events, but they want you to spend on these things.
Yeah, they're always looking at their bottom line, and that's normal. I mean, they are a business. They need to care about survival as far as paying their bills. On the other hand, for us, we also care that, we don't get too deep into it. It can easily become an addiction, so. You want to manage your resources.
It's probably better off. Money. It's probably better off that I can't afford to spend money on these games, because, yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy to justify spending on these games when you're getting into it and you're competitive about it. But it can be a pretty deep pit if you start to sink into it. So if you're starting the game now as a new player, don't rush into spending. Talk to older players. Find out what's actually worth spending on if that's the way you want to go. Otherwise, you could be out hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars very quickly without really getting any value out of the money you're spending.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's a prize card doesn't necessarily mean that it's good as well.
All right, how do you get stage 6 parts is one of the questions I'm looking at. Stage 6 parts. The easiest way, and it depends on whether you're talking about a gold star or a purple star car, of course. For gold star cars, there are a few ways, one of which is events that use it. usually gives you one. Second, and more importantly, if you save bronze keys, you can get it from the parts crate. Now, Purple Star cars, unfortunately, you cannot use parts crate without spending real money, so that kind of eliminates that possibility.
If you guys aren't familiar with Maxthegamer, he's got a great YouTube channel for this game as well, so make sure you guys check out Max on YouTube. And Bernie, man, you said you weren't into video games as much when you were a kid. You know, I've always loved video games. It's always been my thing. I remember all the old Nintendo Mario games and the Ninja Turtles at the actual arcade when I was a kid. But yeah, man, thank you for the kind words. Video games are awesome. They're a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great hobby. Mobile games do tend to be a little more expensive.
Since Pac-Man, so you know,
Pac-Man.
Yeah, I've been going back a long way. Frogger, I think, one of the first games I played.
You know, I remember when I was a kid, you would walk down to like the local convenience store, like the Dairy Mart or something, and they would have like arcade games like right in there. You'd pay your 25 cents or whatever it was back then, and you know, they don't have those anymore. I wonder if they even have do they even have real arcades anymore anywhere?
I mean, I have one near me actually, still around, but it's not a popular thing anymore. I want to answer the question from Yuri real quick. Yuri, not the regular bronze crate. We're talking about the parts crate. That there's a big difference. It's actually called a parts crate, and each part costs more bronze keys than your typical bronze crate, but you're more quickly able to get to the loyalty, which gives stage 6 parts. So understand that it still takes a lot of bronze keys, but it's a guaranteed stage 6 at each loyalty. The regular bronze crate is so hit and miss, I would never use. I just collect that for free. I don't use that for anything.
Good swaps, Melon. Do we remember winning our first live race? Sort of. I think mine was with the Toyota 86 because that was the first crappy car I bought. I was like, oh, this is going to be a great car, but it really wasn't. I mean, it's okay, but...
A lot of us, when we first started this game, looked at the 86 and says, you know, hey, that's the only cool looking car in here. And you pick it, and it turns out to be the worst of the batch. So.
Yeah, I remember looking through the cars available thinking, I bet this is the best one because it looks nicest.
Yeah.
But
we learned very quickly that this game and reality has nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of really cool cars in real life that suck in this game, and then there's a lot of cars that might suck in real life, but they're kind of cool in the game, so...
So my favorite Purple Star car at the moment is actually the C8 Z06. The C8R, definitely the race car used to be, but now the Z06 being better, that's my favorite right now. Not to say I don't have other cars I love in the game. There are quite a few cars that are great in this game, Purple Stars particularly, that I like. For example, the Regera has always been a favorite. The F1's great. The Mistral, Bugatti Mistral, the Jesco Red. These are some of the best cars, in my opinion, in the game that I really enjoy.
Check that out. Kay actually watched my video about which car to pick before choosing the first car. That's awesome. I think most people probably don't. I'm guessing most people probably pick their first car before they get on YouTube to find out about the game.
Yeah, that's good. That's normal, though. I mean, first you got to find out you like the game before you care enough about what's going on.
Yeah.
The good news is when you're that early in the game, you could always just restart. You don't want to restart this game a year later. That's a lot of work.
How did I get the car that I'm currently driving? So this is a Elite Tuners car. And once you get to a certain rank in the game, you'll start unlocking these Elite Tuners events. Now, I don't know if this one is still free, but I think this was part of the third Elite Tuners event. The first one's for the Toyota Supra. And after you get so far through that, a next one opens up where I think the second event was for the Elite Tuners GTR and Skyline. Then I think eventually you get over to where you can unlock the event for the WRX and the Lancer. And then there's a couple more after that, but it might take a little while as a new player to unlock these cars.
Yeah,
now I don't know if I don't know if it's still this way, but when I got to this event, it gave me my choice of one of the cars for free, and then I either had to buy the other one with gold or with tickets.
Yeah, I don't know if the players coming in now, because the event, that was when the event first came in, they offered that kind of stuff. I don't know how it works right now.
Yeah.
You may not have that option. I don't know. I mean, that's hard to say.
Michael J says the Bel Air is too beautiful not to buy. You know, if that's a good car and it's $20, I'm buying it.
Yeah, the Bel Air is going to be a decent car, actually. I think it's going to be good. The issue is that, of course, Natural Motion once again changed up matchmaking, so we need to keep an eye on that to figure out what continues to be a good car or what may no longer be a good car. That's something to always worry about with this game. But so far, I think the low performance point high evo will still hold its own. It's just a matter of you got to be very careful not to bump them.
Warren, what kind of problems are you having with the Supra? He's asking, why is the Supra broken? Which Supra and what problem are you having? My favorite tier 3 car. Honestly, most tier 3 cars are kind of lousy. There's a couple good ones. They recently gave us a couple of BMWs. I can't remember the name of them, but there's a couple Purple Star BMWs we recently got for free. I don't know if you got those or not, but...
What, the G82s or
yeah,
G92s, I think?
They were decent. I like Amelia's LBM4 is kind of cool. That's one of the boss cars you'll get eventually. But tier 3 is kind of like the one tier that I avoid. There's a lot of tier 1 cars that I really like. There's a lot of tier 2 cars. I should say a few tier 1 and tier 2 cars that I like, but I don't really do much with tier 3. That's just, I don't know. They made tier 3 a little bit weird. They started adding a couple of newer tier 3 cars that are pretty decent, but most of the older ones are just kind of blah.
Yeah, that's... Tier 3 is kind of a weird tier because you're matched in with the tier 1 and 2s. And quite honestly, some of the 3s are fast enough to be in tier 4, but they're not. And then in tier 3, they're kind of fast, but then they don't necessarily match up to cars that make sense in live racing. So it's a kind of a tough tier to be in.
Alright, so Kenny, have you got the newest update on the game yet? Maybe you don't have it yet because... Oh crap, my game crashed. Well, I'm sorry about that, whoever I was racing, but the game just crashed. But yeah, if you don't have the new update, I think most people probably have it by now. And if you don't, you're not going to be able to race other people who are on a different update. I also notice I'm getting a lot of bots lately for live racing. I'm not really sure why. But my guess is check to see if you have the new update. If not, you'll probably have it sometime in the next couple of days. This game doesn't give the updates to everybody on the same day. They sign up for something called staggered updates where different players get it on different days. And I think that keeps their servers from melting down from everybody downloading it on the same day.
Yeah, that's exactly why they do it. It's mostly to manage the server load as everybody rushes to get the update. One thing you have to know about updating first is that you will spend probably a week, if not a whole season, racing bots because there won't be enough players in the lobby for you to race. So that's something to keep in mind, and it's one of the reasons I never rush to update anymore. I like to have players to race rather than just bots. It's just the way things play out for me, that in live racing, it's more fun with players. But if you rush in, that's what's going to happen. You're going to end up essentially racing bots until more players get the update and actually update.
Yeah, Chrissy, that was fun. Thanks for the swaps.
So, K Family asked, "What is Tempest?" Tempest is nothing more than a story-based event that has no deadline, no time limit. Unlike all these other events that generally last 14 days or however many number of days, Tempest will be there for as long as you own the game. So it's just one of those story mode games that side events that you can do on your own. People tend to rush through it. There's no need. It doesn't do anything more than give you something to play. So, but yeah, you open that up as you progress in the game. That's probably one of the earlier things as a big event that you'll see on your map.
Yuri says, I was so confused that the voice is different. Well, I have two personalities. Each one has a different voice, and they can both talk at the same time. Pretty cool, right? Now, Maxthegamer, another YouTuber, he's in here with me today. Again, if you haven't checked out Max on YouTube, you might want to. He's got an awesome channel. All right, Chrissy says, what are the best cars for Tempest 3 Tier 4? Because I'm struggling with it. Well, I don't know what you have, but this car or the Lancer, if you have enough upgrades and elite upgrades and junk, can both be really awesome. The GTR N attack package, not to be confused with the other GTRs that look the same, but the N attack package is a very good one if you have it maxed out or close to maxed out. I think the Evora does it. The Evora does it, right? If I remember correctly.
The Evora is gonna have to be fully maxed, and it's a bit of a struggle still. The top cars right now are all BMWs. The BMWs in Tier 4, Tier 3 tend to be the best cars for Tempest. Now, not every BMW in Tier 4 is any good. For example, we know the M5 competition's good, the M4 CSL's good, but not the old. There's an M5 GTR or I think it's an M5 GTR. That's not good. So I have a few videos on some of the good cars, but again, it's overdue for an update to make a new video. If you search for easiest to use in Tempest 4, I should have the most recent few cars. In fact, the Mustang Dark Horse, if you have that, was super easy to get through Tempest 3 Tier 4 with. So that's it's all more recent cars though, so it really depends on whether anybody has it all or not.
Kenny, I don't remember if the DBX 707 did it, but I know I made a video about that and I tested it out and I told you on the video. Do you remember, Max? Does that car make
the
it?
Final sprint. It'll beat everything else, but not the final sprint. So you have to, if you're going to use the DBX along with something else, you would be looking at swapping out a car near the end for that sprint. But it easily beats other stuff. It's very good on speed traps. It's good on the time. It's just not good on those final sprint. I mean, the final sprint, I should say.
Yeah, you really need a car that can do 0 to 60 in about 1.3 or faster, and a car that can do over 260 miles per hour. And there's quite a few Tier 4 cars that can do both, but there's a lot that can't.
Yeah, and the more recent ones, the issue with Tier 4 cars that are being, put out is, one issue is that they make it so that it's quicker on top speed, but then it spins tires so it doesn't sprint well, or vice versa. They would make it sprint real well, but then it sucks on top speed. So that's kind of the thing with Tier 4 that's always been the struggle to find the right car. I know they nerfed the Dark Horse. I don't remember how badly. I may have to revisit that car, but the Evo points are still there for the low performance upgrade setups. But ultimately the car might not be as good. The boss Tier 1 without stars supposedly is a little faster. To be honest, I never used that car for anything, so I wouldn't be the best person to answer about that boss car.
Warren G
so they nerfed it bad now. Okay, so take the Mustang Dark Horse off the list. I guess it's no longer any good.
Oh yeah, they did change it. I just made a remake video on that a couple days ago. Warren G
Yeah.
says he found a problem with the Toyota Supra where you can shift it to make it go 0 miles per hour. I mean, yeah, you're definitely going to lose if you do that, and you're also going to be a giant jerk as well if you're doing it against another player. So, I don't know. I don't think I would mess with that, honestly. But there's quite a few cars in the game that can actually do that if you do some weird combination of, like, shifts. I don't think they should allow any car to do that, honestly, because some people think it's funny and they're like, hey, let's go in there and like mess with people in live racing. And yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, it all goes back to how they program the car. Unfortunately, they have a few patterns in which they program them, and that's what leads to these funky things that happens where either you could beat dyno by a ton or you can go to 0 RPM and sit at the line. It's all within the spec of the tune, the way they have it set up. But they, I don't know why Natural Motion nerfs certain cars. They just do it, and they just, they like nerfing stuff. I guess if players complain or something, they'll just nerf it without telling you why.
Damone says, I'm happy you two know each other and I'm on live together. I watch both of your videos. Hey, thanks, buddy. We definitely appreciate that. And Chrissy, in order to get the WRX or the Lancer, you have to start doing the Elite Tuners event. And once you get through a couple of them, or at least to a certain point in those, you'll unlock the Elite Tuners event for the Lancer and the WRX. So that's really about all there is to that one, I guess. Might take a little while to get there, depending where you're at on the other Elite Tuners events. I think once I finished the event for the Supra, I almost think the other two unlocked instantly, didn't they? I'm trying to remember. That was a long time ago.
I don't remember. No, the Nissans, you have to play through an event. They're not unlocked. Oh, yeah, they unlock when you finish the Supra event, yes.
Yeah.
But now the one won't be free. I think you have to pay for both or something like that.
You know, the Dark Horse is still pretty fast. Honestly, I think it's faster now. I mean, I did a whole video. I did a whole updated review video. So we did a stage 5 shift and tune, stage 6 shift and tune. I tried to find the low performance point, high evo point, part, whatever tune. I can't dumble my words right now, but you know what I mean. And we also did a review on that thing, and it still seems pretty good overall. It's definitely been changed, but it still seems like a good car to me.
I mean, I'll look at it again. I just don't, as Millen knows, I don't spend a lot of time on tier 4s. So I will take a look at it when I get a chance. As far as the American road trip cars, the IROC is a prize car. So one thing you have to know about these events is the prize cars are going to be needed for the final lock-in. So if you ignore any one of the prize cars, when you get to the finals, you're not going to make it through. Or you got to pay money and buy the package. They'll probably sell it to you. That's been the new thing with them. They'll sell it to you for money. The other thing is, I know William's been asking this question earlier, about the missing race pass. I know that they're changing so that we're all getting the race pass and no more daily goals. So that might be something that you're experiencing as a bug right now because they're still implementing that, or you updated or didn't update. I don't know, but I would think that in a season or so, when they make sure we all get race pass as the future daily goal, it'll come back for you, hopefully.
All right, so where did I just see that comment? Warren says CSR Tricky has been ignoring me. I don't know. Does he answer comments on his channel? Some YouTubers don't. I mean, it can sometimes take a couple hours or several hours per day to go through all the comments. So some people don't have the time to do it. Some do. I mean, I try and answer as many comments as possible. I'm sure I miss some from time to time, but yeah. I can understand why a lot of YouTubers don't, because it is very, very time consuming going through all your comments depending on how many you get per day. When you wake up in the morning, you got 200, 300, 400, 500 comments to go through. That's just kind of like, wow. That's a lot. Guy, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, William, that could be a bug, like I said. And again, it probably has to do with the way they're trying to implement Race Pass for everybody. I would say put a support ticket, but we all know how useful that is. But sometimes it's good to at least put a ticket out there. But most likely when we are forced into our next update for everybody where they implement it, you might get that back. So if you still don't get it back, then absolutely you're going to have to talk to support.
Yeah, support's not great, but at least, if you contact them, they can send your bug or issue to the team that works on that stuff, or they're just going to be like, okay, we already know and we're working on it. You'll get kind of one or the other.
Yeah, they tend to brush you off. I mean, that's, of course, they get probably thousands of support tickets a day, so that's not unusual. But and don't forget, support doesn't actually do any of the programming. They can't. Those guys are just people that get paid to sit in front of a computer to answer emails. Essentially, it's the programmers who have to get back to you on technical issues, and that's going to take time. They're not going to have that done instantly.
Yeah, more than likely, it's just kind of like a little call center where there's probably like 500 people sitting in the cubicle that might not even actually work for the game. They might just be contracting like a little place to do it. I don't know for sure if they have their own employees or not, but
yeah, usually call centers do. They I had a friend who worked for one before, not for a game like this. He was the spammer types that call you for donations, but yeah, they definitely have their own business. That's a separate business, and you get hired and you sit there and they give you a list of phone calls or whatever you have to do. I'm sure support's similar. You sit in front of a computer and whatever comes in, the ticket comes in, you got to deal with it. So
yeah, I worked at a call center once. It was I had to call people and try to get donations for mothers for drunk driving or whatever. I think I did it for about 3 weeks and I quit. I'm like, this is the worst job ever. I'm just like sitting here annoying people like this. It was not a fun job. I mean, if you're calling people to say, hey, you need to pay your bills, or if you're calling people back that actually had problems, but I just felt like I was calling people and harassing them, so I didn't do it very long.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, it sucked.
They hope that you harass them so hard they'll actually pay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Stop calling me, I'll pay, all right? Stop calling me. That's kind of basically what they're hoping for. What really you get is people get used to hearing that and they just hang up on you. So
I don't think I made one sale for the 3 weeks I was there. They actually said men had a lot harder time since it was for a charity called Mothers Against Drunk Driving. But I do remember this one lady got on the phone and she told me this story about how somebody she knew was killed in a drunk driving accident. I think this was somebody trolling me because they told me the story for probably a good 35 minutes. And I just have to sit there and go, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Then finally they said, okay, thanks for listening to me. Bye. And they hung up. I was like, I bet that was somebody trolling me right there.
Yeah, they want to waste your time. It's like, I'm going to waste this guy's time. He calls me. I'm going to, get my free therapy session in with him.
Yeah, that was an interesting job. All right, so Warren says, who owns CSR2? It's actually the same company that owns Grand Theft Auto. One of their sister
Take-Two
companies.
Entertainment, I think it's called.
Yes, Take-Two, that's it.
Yeah. So they own CSR2 because they bought the whole package from Zynga. So they're the new overlord of CSR2. And if you notice something, once they took over, these events start coming faster and faster and faster.
They are shoving events down our throat.
Oh, big time. And, it's all monetizing on their part. They're looking at, hey, how quickly can we squeeze money out of these events? I actually feel kind of bad. If you're a CSR2 programmer right now, you got the devil with the whip and chain standing behind you every day telling you to program faster. Faster, boy. Faster.
Program more money. Make us more money.
That's
We only made $20,000 today. Tomorrow, if we don't make more, we're gonna chop off your fingers.
Yeah.
Guy, you out of here. Have a great day. Oh man.
The Hunitruk's is going to be a good vehicle for CSR2 purposes. It's one of, I'm happy that the new Hoonigan vehicles, like the Hunatron, we know it's good. The Hunatruck is going to be good, at least until they switch something up on us, and low performance point, high evo doesn't mean anything anymore. But until that point, these are going to be good vehicles. In fact, American Road Trip's going to introduce quite a few nice vehicles, which is unusual because usually we get a big event, it'll be like one decent car and the rest stink. This one I've counted probably 4 nice cars, including the IROC. So we have a lot of good options coming.
I was just going to say something.
Did I interrupt your train of thought?
I said it. I don't know. It felt like it was important, but it must not have been very important. I don't know if somebody asked the question I wanted to answer or what it was, but
they've sold off CSR for a good year now. It was like last year's news or something about them, Zynga selling out to Take-Two.
Yeah, they didn't really advertise it too much until recently either.
Yeah, of course. Take-Two wants to make sure the thing makes money before they advertise anything.
Like a couple months ago, they finally put a thing up saying, hey, we now own the game, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, it's actually been quite a while. I would say definitely about year and a half, maybe?
Yeah, about a year and a half, I would say, yeah. The gas ads usually come up when you get to like 5 pips of fuel. It offers it to you. You got to be careful not to click too quick on rechallenge and the ad goes away.
And if you go out to the lobby or something, you're not going to get the ads. You got to stay in one event and just, use your gas until it pops up.
Yep. Well, actually, if you go back to Garage, sometime it pops up too. It just depends on, some people never get ads too. So it really depends.
I hardly ever get the thing where you go back to your garage, but every once in a while, I used to actually know how to make that work. I think you had to have like maybe 1 or 2 pips of gas left, and then you would go back to the garage. There was a trick to it, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, and the Sylvia Spec S15 is going to be decent as well. So again, there are a lot of really decent cars. If you can get your hands on any one of them as a new player, you should be decently well off. What I will tell you is not every one of those are going to be good. For example, the Pontiac that's coming, the Pontiac Trans Am, I don't think that's going to be very good. The IROC Z is good, but the Trans Am's not. And then the Chevy, now it's skipping my mind, the one that we were talking about earlier that's going to be bought, that one's good. Hunatruck's good. But again, if you're not a paying player, you have to kind of pick and choose which one you can get access to.
I guess Zynga still sort of owns the game,
but good. Yep.
They bought Zynga. They actually bought the entire company of Zynga, so I guess Zynga's owned by Take-Two.
Yeah. So still Zynga being the ones sending the whip to CSR2 then to Natural Motion. The whip and chains go downhill too, so it's like
Asho never gets offers. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I think there's a lot of people who have weird glitches where things don't work right, and then other people don't have the same glitches. Everybody's got different weird glitches going on in this game for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Everybody has something, but it's all different.
It's kind of crazy. All right, I think I had too much coffee before the stream, so I've already got to pee. I'll leave you guys with Max for a minute while I pee, and I shall return in just a second.
Yeah, whips and chains, man. Well, they programmed Donna, so obviously if they need more income, they'll program it a little different. Oh, yeah. 3030 is a copy card. That's why it's not going to be good. Remember, we've had the 3030 in the game quite a long time already. So it's unlikely they're going to program a whole new set of shift patterns and everything for it, and that's why it's not good. But the other ones might be okay. The other hot rods that are coming, they seem like they're going to be decent. So, and again, exactly, the boxes are nothing more than programmed algorithms. It is supposed to be random, but random doesn't mean that it's going to play out that way when you're clicking on it. So, the GR Supra is only, so stage 6 is important, Yuri, to get the GR Supra going, but what you really need to have that car truly shine would be elite levels, because it adds the fusion slots you need to make that car good. Okay. All right, so Mark, CSR2 fusion parts, basically, think of it this way. Building the car doesn't make it good. What makes the cars actually perform are the fusion parts. The whole point of building your car up is so you can open up all those slots for the fusion parts, but your cars are not good until you put actual fusion parts in every slot. Why did they do that? Because it's an app game. They need to make you do stuff just to make something decent so they can make you spend money. It doesn't make any logical sense. What are fusion parts? Why are they even in the game? They're there to make you do more work. So that's the key. But you do need fusions. Most good tunes require fully fusion cars. So it's important that you get the fusion parts. You do not need all stage 6 parts with the Supra, the GR Supra for Tempest 3 Tier 5. What you need to do is make sure your Supra is running 8.7 and faster. The boss runs about an 8.9, so you always want to give yourself a margin of error so that you can easily beat the boss. So once you upgrade your Supra to run 8.7 and faster, fully fusioned, and put all the stage 6 and everything in, you should be good. But the Supra, if it's elite level 35, definitely does not need all stage 6s. But if it's elite level 0, it probably will need all stage 6s and still cannot do it. So you have to be very careful with that car to make sure you get the elite levels up.
All right, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
I have returned. All right.
All right, so the ACR Voodoo is currently a question mark. That's going to be a question mark because right now the spec that they have released that data miners were able to get access to seems to be unfinished. The evos does not make sense. The runtime does not make a lot of sense. And they did that even with the 6 seconds Camaro. When that first event first came out, they didn't finish the car yet. So it was kind of questionable how good or bad it was going to be. It turned out to be rather bad. The Dodge could turn out to be rather bad. We don't know. We just don't know at this point.
Like, one of the reasons, even if I can make shift pattern videos about cars before they're released, I don't like to, because you never know. Like, we get a hold of some of these cars early, but it doesn't mean they're not going to change it before it actually goes live.
Or after it goes live, like they did with the Mustang. They just nerfed it.
That's more rare, but unfortunately they do it sometimes.
It's too good. We have to nerf it. I don't know. Maybe because they saw that it can beat Tempest 3 Tier 4 too easily, so they nerfed it for that reason. Because it really was too easy. It was like, I don't even have to tune it or set it up for more than 2 setups, and then it beats everything. Yeah, the T4 Viper and the T5 Dodges, I'll be honest with you, all the Vipers in the game are kind of bad. As much as I like the Dodge Viper, it's just not that great in the game. I'm hoping they would release a nice one soon, but we'll see.
I think I'm in the 12.0 lobby, but yeah, they don't seem to like the Dodge Vipers in this game, I'll tell you that. I do like that Dodge Drag Pack. That one's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool, but again, it's not... the Challengers, the Vipers, none of the Vipers are good. A few of the Challengers / Chargers are decent. The Charger Red Eye's quite good.
Yeah.
And what's that other recent one was good, but the rest are just bad. So
Manos, what's up, man? If we missed anybody, hey, welcome to the stream. Nice to have you guys here.
I find that they only nerf stuff when they feel like they don't want players to have an easy time getting through anything.
True.
So anytime they make a mistake and make a card that makes it too easy for the players, they're gonna nerf it. That's what I see. I mean, that's over the past 5 years of them nerfing cars. The other reason they nerf cars is because their coding is so messy that sometimes they accidentally change a car even though they didn't intend it.
Do I play any other games? I do have another channel for a game called War Robots. But on this channel, this is the only game I've been playing.
Yeah, I'm a gamer. I'm not just like a CSR2 guy. I do play other games. And I played many different games. In fact, right now I'm heavily into Baldur's Gate 3. I played MechWarrior 5. I played Forza Horizon. So all kinds of different games I like. I'm eyeing up some other games, but I don't think I have enough time to play them all. For example, Armored Core 6, and I was looking at Starfield, but quite honestly, I can't afford the time. Not so much that I can't get the games, I just won't be playing them.
Yeah, try to find time to play a whole bunch of different games, plus the money to buy all the games. That can get a little bit much on a lot of people, I would say.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I have games on my computer that I've downloaded over the years and have literally put 3 hours into. Oh, you know.
I've got a few like that too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a heavy app game guy other than CSR2 and maybe 1 or 2 app games I've tried out, simply because app games are such money grabs that it irks me. They give you very little fun for a lot of money required if you get sunken into it, versus a true PC game that I pay $50 for, I can put 300 hours into without paying another penny. So there's a big difference in the way things play. But then again, I have like 3,000 hours in CSR2, so it's, you know.
I thought you were going to say you have 3,000 games on your computer. Like, holy crap. How can it hold it all?
But you understand what I'm saying. There's a big difference between app games and console and PC games. It's a different way of making money for the developers.
Yeah, I mean, PC games, you buy it once. Maybe you purchase like something else once or twice throughout the year or 2 or 3 years you're playing it. On these games, they want you to just spend. We want you to buy like 20 things a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know what's interesting is this game, CSR2 grabs a lot of players because it's all real cars, right? I don't like racing games with fictional cars for some reason. It just doesn't appeal to me. This is all real cars, and when you own one of these cars, you get all excited. You're like, oh man, you know, this car's in the game. I gotta go and play this. I think that's really one of the big attractions of this game.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to know is that your real life car and the cars in this game, they're not even trying to make it somewhat realistic. It has nothing to do with real life, other than the fact they look really, really realistic.
Ayaka, how's it going? Nice to see ya. But yeah, not even close to realistic in this game. I mean, no car does 9,000 miles per hour.
No.
I mean, 400 to 500 miles per hour, that's a bit of a stretch right there, I would say.
Is there a tier 3 car showdown? I mean, is there a showdown I have to do? I'll do it if there's a prize car, but I don't even look at showdowns until I see there's a prize car on it.
Why? Is there a new one on the map with a tier 3
Well, there's going to
one?
be a showdown with a prize car for America Road Trip. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
I didn't notice one up on the map yet. I didn't really look today to see if anything new had popped up, though.
Yeah, I hate doing showdowns. I just, from the time that it became a thing, I've told my crew that I would only do showdown if forced. So otherwise, I just do live racing. I have no interest in showdown.
I might, I run a couple of showdown races on one of my live streams every week. Then I might pop on once or twice to run a tank here and a tank there, just to grab some quick RP and quick game cash, I guess. The main thing I don't like about Showdown is the fact that you make less game cash per win compared to live racing. But Showdown can save time because, let's just say I log on to Showdown for the first time today. More than likely, I'm going to get 6, 7, 8, 9 wins easily before I start losing. So that's a bunch of really quick RP I can get in about 5 or 10 minutes time. And then usually I come back a couple of days later, do the same thing. I used to spend a lot more time on Showdowns, but I don't know. They get kind of old with the crazy, wacky matchmaking.
So if you don't mind losing, okay, and this is not a losing because you're bad at gaming or anything, losing because it's designed to make sure you lose, then it's okay to do Showdown. You'll win some and then immediately hit a wall and you'll start losing. I don't like that. Okay, now, if I had the maxed Apex car, that's when you'll see I put video up for Showdown, because then it's racing, because everybody else has the same car, same shift pattern, and it comes down to who's good. One thing I won't do, though, and this is a easy mistake for those who love Showdown, is I won't build a car for Showdown. I just won't do it. If the car sucks otherwise, it's not getting built.
I agree.
That's why you're broke in cash, because if you're building for the game all the time, you're going to go broke.
Mech, what's up, buddy? I look at it this way. Most of those Showdown cars, after the Showdown ends, I'm probably never going to mess with it again until I need it for some sort of event. So I'm not going to sit there and build a car or put a bunch of parts into a car just to do a Showdown. I don't know. I'll just use whatever I got, run a few races here and there, and be good with whatever prizes I can get out of it.
Yeah. And I can get the same. I mean, the prizes are nice to get, but I also don't care about the elite tuners. That could be why I'm not a Showdown guy too. Like, my elite tuner cars get built when they get built. I don't chase them. I know guys are chasing the Supra. They're chasing this, chasing that. The only car I cared about for elite tuner tokens was the F1. My F1's the elite 50, so I'm done. The rest I don't care about. I mean, it just that's a personal thing. It's not that I dislike Showdown for other reasons, but I just don't like to be forced into, particular positions where I can't really compete just because.
Monos, what's up, buddy? He says, I feel like starting CSR again. Yeah, I mean, if you stop playing and you missed the game, come on back. It's still a lot of fun. I mean, they have a lot more events and stuff, but if you don't want to do the paid stuff, you don't have to. Just do the daily stuff, enjoy, some live racing, some little events, and to me, that keeps the game fun.
Yeah, I mean, people do Showdown mostly for tokens, for resources, and other things. As long as you're smart enough not to put resources in to get those minor resources back. Tokens, so the game basically goes two ways, right? If you're patient, you don't have to rush to do anything. If you're impatient, you're going to have to struggle for everything. That's just the way the game's designed. And really, they make money off of your impatience is how it's designed as well. The more impatient you are, the more likely you have to spend. And the more you spend, the more money the developers make. That's just how it works.
The arcade
Can I enjoy the game without spending? Sure. Have I spent? Absolutely. Because I like the game.
I've played the arcade game a few times, but not really my thing.
I'm impatient, Danny. I'm actually a very impatient person when it comes to getting something I want. But I'm also realistic enough to know that when it's something I'm just not going to get. Okay.
I used to be really impatient, but I think these mobile games actually made me learn to be a little more patient, because I'm like, I don't have the money to buy this stuff. I'm just going to have to sit here and wait. And in some ways, that actually helped me out in life, because I'm way less impatient now about things. So yeah, mobile games fixed my impatience. I'm still a little impatient about some things, but
yeah, I mean, it's set up partially like a gambling casino and partially like a it's again, everything about that is to kind of hook you, right? Impatience will cost you. Your desire to get something specific out of a random crate is going to cost you.
Yes.
Because the crates are designed like a slot machine. Now, we all know how often you hit jackpots on a slot machine, so it's going to be the same thing with the crates.
Jackpot all the time. 1-star.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I just walk in the casino and come out richer. I mean, it's always the case. So it's all designed that way. It's very smart design on the developer side, because app games make more money than console and actual video games, because the way they're designed. If I was smart, and I'm not, if I was really smart, I would have invested in an app game company a long time ago and probably make some cheesy app game that hopefully become popular, and I'd be really rich right now.
I think the first Android app ever made by a normal person was like a fart button. I don't remember if it was for iOS or Android, but he made a fart button, and you pushed it made a fart sound. That guy became a billionaire off of that thing.
I mean, some of the things like Sticky Note guy is billionaire, Rubber Band guy's billionaire. So it depends on what you come up with. The point is, it's up to you what you want to do. I mean, in the end, we play these games for fun. If you have the financial ability and you're impatient, and it's all relative to you, right? So. And this goes in anything. Like I talk to other car guys, and car guys are like, "Well, why'd you buy that expensive car? You could have done the same, quarter mile in this Honda Civic with a blah 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 for $5,000." Well, maybe because I like that other car better. Okay, yes, I can do it with a Honda Civic for $5,000, but I don't want to be driving around in a Honda Civic all the time. But that's everybody's personal thing, and the same thing applies to this game. Some people really love having purple star cars, and they don't mind paying.
I like golden ones better.
Don't care. So it's all relative.
You know why I like the golden ones better? Because there are sometimes an event comes up, and the golden star car is in there, but you cannot use the purple star one.
Yeah.
And you know what? They actually tried to do us a favor once. There was a problem with the game, and they decided, hey, instead of giving you guys the golden star car for your milestone prize this season, we're just going to give everybody the purple star one. And there's so many times that particular car, the golden star one, would be used for something, but I never got it because they decided to do us a favor. And the one they gave me with the purple stars that was supposed to be doing me a favor actually sucks because I can't use it for the event. It's like, man, they should have I wish they would have given us both now that I think about it, but...
They never give you free handouts that helped you.
No.
I mean, not often. Malnus was bit by a dog. That's why he stopped playing games. Oh my God. That
Did it get your hand?
Bad dog bite, yeah.
Hopefully it's better now. That sucks. Yeah. Who's saying the cursor words?
What?
Is somebody
FART?
cursing? I don't know.
Nothing's free except hard times. So true. So
William
true
D
for this
says,
game.
Don't say a F word. Yeah, you're talking about me saying fart?
Yeah. They're joking about the fart, I think.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But, Miguel, don't say FART. Miguel will pause you.
You never know. Yeah, it was the Pista, actually. It wasn't the Pista Spider, but the regular Pista. I think the Golden Star version of the Pista is actually better than the Purple Star version.
Yeah, I mean, that's true of some cars. Speaking of which, this season's F5 Venom Spider, I think it came up in the chat somewhere. This is going to be a good car. I'm actually excited to get this because so one thing we learned over the years too, okay, and Mills disagreed with me on this vehemently because he said, no, we program every single car. I said, all right, Mills, that's fine. You program every single car. I understand. But the cars tend to run the same when they already have a version in the game. Because no developer is going to reprogram every single car. It's just too much work. So when the F5 Coupe is good, the F5 Spider is probably going to be decent. That's all I'm saying.
I think Melon was saying it looks like it's actually just a reskin of the same car, which it very well could be.
No, that was the whole discussion I had with him. He said, we don't reskin cars.
Yeah.
We program each one. I said, well, maybe you reprogram the exterior on each one, but you can't tell me the fusion slots and the shift patterns are not somewhat copy and paste, because there's no way the Z06 and the Z06 Spider can be that close.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the...
Makes sense.
If you look at the different Gamera, like the launch edition, the Gamera, I mean, they're all so similar. They're almost exactly the same. There's little teeny tiny differences. So yeah, they may actually, they probably just clone the car and then they change something a little teeny tiny bit just to make so it's not 100% the same, maybe.
No, I know Mill works on the exterior coding and 3D modeling. So I agree with him that each car is unique. Okay, when they do the modeling, it is unique. But we're talking about the build and shift pattern. They're not unique. They have the same. The most classic example is the 812 Superfast, the various versions of that car. I had it matched down to like every single fusion and every single upgrade. It was identical. It was completely different, quote, car, but everything was identical. So, and the Z06 and the Z06 convertible, basically the same car. And you're going to have the same thing going with this F5 Venom Spider, but we know the F5 Venom's good. Then I have high hopes for the Spider because of it. And this is this season's milestone. So anybody who's not in a milestone crew yet, it's only the beginning of the season, you better get in one now because you want this car. The downside of this car is new players won't have fusions for it for a while. Hennessy fusions are still relatively rare.
It kind of sucks that some brands, especially if it's a new brand, but even if it's not new, there's just certain ones where the game is like, we're just not going to give out parts for this.
Yeah, I mean, the brands with a lot of cars in it, like Nissan, you get Nissan Fusions left and right. Okay, Ford Fusions, because the Ford Performance Cup, if you don't finish it, you have no shortage of Ford Fusions. But other Fusions are a lot tougher, especially niche brands like, you know, like what's that Glickenhaus, you know, the Glickenhaus cars. I never see
Glickenhaus.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how it's pronounced, but
yeah, or even the one that somebody mentioned earlier. The hold on, let me scroll back up. Somebody mentioned a brand earlier that I never get fusions for either. What is it? Oh yeah, the Prelator Spider. Yeah. What's the brand of that one? That's a very special Spiker.
Yeah, Spiker. Yeah, Spiker or Striker.
How often do you see freaking Spiker fusions? Mazda used to be even more rare. It's a little better now, especially if you get far enough to get to your Elite tuners. Don't forget, you can use parts crates on that Mazda as long as it's Yellow Star. So
yeah, Mazda is not as rare as it used to be.
Oh yeah, McMurtry's, all these one-shot flash cars, terrible. Terrible to get fusions for them.
Yeah, any brand where there's only like one or two or maybe even three cars, generally they're very hard to get parts for.
I have Spiker fusions out the butt. What are you talking about? Then you've been getting screwed by Donna. Because Spiker, I mean, that just means the algorithm's been throwing useless Spiker fusions at you. But my point still stands. If you have a lot of Spiker fusions, you're probably short on other one-off brands. It's just the way it is. Donkenvort, yeah, Donkenvort or Donka whatever. Donkey Fart, that's what I call it. The Donkey Fart.
Donkey Fart?
Yeah, somebody will get upset over that one, but I love that brand. I'm sorry, man. It's just the way the name comes out. It just, every time I see that car, I automatically think Donkey Fart. I mean,
another one, Hennessy. That's hard to get parts for, too.
Every time I think Hennessy, I'm going like, isn't that an alcohol? I mean, it's,
beer.
When did they start making cars? So, well, so it looks like Yuri gets all the obscure fusions out the butt. Do you have any Audi fusions? I mean, I would think you'd be the guy short on Audi and BMW fusions for some reason.
Yeah, those are probably like the easiest ones to get. By far, those got to be the easiest.
Yeah, and that is also true. You tend to get fusions for cars that you don't even care about. It's like, I never needed fusions for this car, but once in a while you see that pop up on the bronze crates. It's like, what the hell brand is that? I don't even use that car. Um, but hey, whatever. You know, that's again, the whole fusion thing is designed to make us struggle and wait and spend money.
Thanks for the swaps.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
The Hennessy Venom GT Spider. You know, the Venom GT Spider, I wish it was better. It was cool when it first came out as a milestone.
Oh my
but
God.
It's never been really good.
There's something wrong with the gobstopper. It's freaking floating down the racetrack.
It doesn't have a shadow.
Yeah. Somebody messed up. It looks so weird, doesn't it? Look.
Yeah.
I noticed that in the garage the other day. It just looked like it's, I don't know. It's amazing how much difference a shadow can make, whether you have it or not. It does not look right without a simple shadow under it.
Yep, it looks completely like it's like a toy car that doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Well, I mean, every car has a Spider version because every manufacturer likes to make a convertible out of their car. That's why we have the Spider version.
Now, why do they call it a Spider? Anybody know?
That's a name that goes back to a lot of European brands. I don't know. Maybe one of the European guys could tell us.
I've always wondered, why do they call a convertible spiders? Maybe in some other language it means something different?
It might be. Hennessy Venom Concept actually is a very good car, especially the red one. I don't know about the yellow Purple Star one. I never owned it, but the red Hennessy Venom Concept is quite good.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the new Hennessy Venom F5 is that much better. So.
Melon says, smash the like button. Thank you.
You know what I'm really looking forward to is actually rocking that IROC. You and I, Danny, grew up in the generation when the IROC was still cool, right? It's not a classic when we were growing up. That was the car that, you know, your high school buddies that are well off had a chance to show off and get the girls with. So
those and the 5.0 Mustangs.
And the 5.0 Mustangs, yep. And believe it or not, I really like the Monte Carlo SS from back in those days. Huh?
I said, rolling in my 5.0 with the rag top down so my hair can blow.
Oh my God. So
that was Max's favorite song right there. Ice, baby.
You old. Yeah, we old too. We are old. And when you get older, everything hurts. That's one of the problems. Yes. I mean, I know you have specific medical issues, Danny, but I'm just talking about getting old in general. Everything hurts.
Yes.
So, yeah, Danny's in the 12-second lobby. 12-something. Because he's running kind of slow, you might want to try 12-4, 12-2 instead of just 12 flat. But, yeah, I mean, you know, you always loved the cars that were cool in your childhood. If you think about it, a lot of the guys that grew up in the 90s to 2000s love Fast and Furious cars. Why? Because they were the cool cars when you were a kid. You know, some people love classics. That's a separate thing. I mean, I like imports for many years. You like what you like. But you almost always have a soft spot for cars that were cool during your youth. Because that's when you first get the impressions.
Before Fast and Furious came out, the little tuner thing was starting to get pretty popular around here. And then Fast and Furious came out, then every person in the world went and bought a performance muffler from the local auto parts store that sounded like somebody farting going down the street, and I put a set of rims on it, and they all thought they had race cars. And then that whole thing lasted for, after Fast and Furious came out, the whole thing lasted for what, 2 or 3 years? And they just kind of, all the tuners just kind of disappeared. It's kind of weird.
Well, so the progression, I actually followed it pretty closely because I was involved, you know, heavily in import drag racing at the time. Not that I was a drag racer professionally or anything, but I showed up to a lot of events. What happened is import tuning. We're not talking about domestic. Domestic's been around forever. Import tuning was just starting to get popular in like the late 80s, early 90s, right? Fast and Furious, what it did is it brought it out to the broader audience. Like it was kind of niche thing among
Yeah.
certain group until Fast and Furious came out. Then everybody wanted in on it. But Fast and Furious brought all the stupidity with it too. You know, fart can mufflers, stickers that doesn't do anything. Underglow. Got to have a NOS button for everything. I mean, it's just
somebody asked me
really,
to do a car sound.
Yeah. In fact, I was just watching the first Fast and Furious yesterday with my son, and laughing at the horrible statements they were making in it, because it was laughable back then too, but it's even more laughable today. But really, what I think killed the import scene isn't necessarily Fast and Furious or anything. It's the release of fast imports. Once the WRX, the Lancer Evo, and all these faster out of the box imports came out, I noticed there was a drop in interest in the old stuff, like the Honda Civics and people started looking at the Type R. They don't care about the regular Civic anymore. Why would I build that? I can just buy a Type R. That I think actually hurt the import scene more than anything else. Because nowadays you don't see much going on. It's
not at all.
Yeah.
Around here, I mean, honestly, like nobody drives anything other than like, you know, you see some big trucks every once in a while, some Hummers, some basic stuff. I mean, nobody's got anything cool anymore around here.
Yeah, I mean, it's money though, because anything that's even half cool nowadays is in the $50,000 range.
Yeah,
you can't get a Civic Type R for cheaper than 50, even though it lists for 40 something. You're not going to get it for cheaper than 50.
Miners, have a great day, buddy.
Civic. All right, have a good one, Monis. It literally is just too hard now to get into it, and you know, I'm hoping that cheaper imports will make a comeback, but I don't think it will, because things are just getting more expensive.
Oh yeah.
So kids don't have the money to spend on import cars. The other thing that killed tuning is OBD2. Once that came along, it's so hard to modify cars.
OBD2, what is that?
It killed it.
What's OBD2? Are you talking about the new computer systems in the cars?
Yeah. OBD2 came along, and people can no longer just modify cars. Now everything has to be computerized, and it became harder and harder to do.
Yeah, the way they set up the new cars kind of sucks. I don't like it. I mean, even the steering is electronic in a lot of cars now. Yeah.
The R34 does become street legal next year, and you can expect them to cost about $200,000 when they get imported here. So again, it's not the people that love the cars usually are priced out of it. I mean, I like the Corvette Z06, and when the new Z06 came out, the C8 came out, I was thinking, oh, all right, so the C8 got more expensive. The last Z06 was $90,000 new, okay, about 90 to 105. How much can the new one be? Maybe 110. All right, give it a few years, it may come down price. The freaking thing is selling for $200,000. People are paying $250,000, $100,000 over list for the Z06. There's a 5-year waiting list. I'll never own that car. It's just not within my financial means. I don't care at this point. It's too expensive.
What was it, like 6 or 7 years ago when they changed those Corvettes to the newer body style that looks real fancy?
2020 is when they changed it.
I remember going down to the local car dealership, and that thing was set in the showroom. It was a Chevy dealership. I'm like, wow, they got a Ferrari in here? And I took a better look at it. I'm like, wait a second, that's a Corvette. Like, from a distance, I thought it was a Ferrari. It was the first time I'd ever seen one of the newer Corvettes. And I feel like they pretty much tried to just replicate a Ferrari look, but that's what I feel like. I don't know.
Well, they benchmarked against Ferraris with the Z06, so but any mid-engine car will have that look. Unfortunately, you can't build a mid-engine car without looking like other mid-engine cars. They all have the same general shape. So I like from Tokyo Drift, which I thought was fun, but when he was drifting around in the Lancer Evo, I was just cringing. Okay, do you know how much work it would take to build a Lancer Evolution that could drift? Because Lancer Evolutions, unless you're doing four-wheel drifts, which I've seen done, are not drift cars. I mean, he had the rear wheel spinning in the movie. I was like, oh my God, they disconnected the four-wheel drive just to make it rear-wheel drive, and the engine is transverse front-wheel drive. It's like, what the hell did they do? But did it look cool? Yeah. That's the problem with Fast and Furious. They take a lot of liberties with reality too. Even more so now. Like if you look at the new Fast and Furious movies, it's crazy. It's not even realistic they're not even trying to be. Now it's just like a showcase of look what special effects we can do. Yeah.
I don't even think they're a racing game anymore, honestly. I mean, a racing movie anymore. It's just like superheroes with cars.
Yeah, it basically is superhero with cars. Yep, that's exactly what it is. When I saw the latest Fast and Furious franchise movie, and when he threw his kid through a car into another car while they're spinning in midair flying, I'm just like, I have suspended so much disbelief with these movies that my disbelief needs to be suspended. Okay?
I like them, but yeah, not. It went from a straight racing movie to super
it went from
action
something
hero.
that you can actually kind of say, all right, that's cool. I mean, it's something I can possibly get as a car to, dude, that shit can't do that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I just used the S word, but you understand what I'm saying.
They're gonna demonetize my YouTube channel.
We're gonna have to go back and beep that out. True Lies was a great movie. That was actually a great movie.
That was.
But man, it just like I like the franchise. I watched most of it, but the recent ones just makes me scratch my head when I'm watching it. Like, what are they trying to do? What is the point of this?
I haven't seen Fast 10 yet. I'm waiting for it to come out on TV or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Fast 10 is going to be a 3-part series or something like that. It's going to be Fast 13 by the time it's done.
Now, I think they're supposed to be doing another spin-off. I forget which character it is, but I think they're going to take another one of the characters and make spin-off movies from one of them. Kind of like they did with like Hobbs and Shaw, but I think they're doing that again with somebody else. I don't remember who.
Well, if you remember, Fast and Furious 2 was kind of a spin-off. It was not really... it didn't... Vin Diesel just made a cameo in it. And none of the main characters were in it. And then Fast and Furious 3 is when everybody came back.
I don't really remember. I thought Fast 2 had all
Fast
the
2
main
was
characters.
Tokyo Drift, which
that was number 2. I thought that was number 3.
Yeah. No, that's 2.
Gotcha.
And then 3 is when they all came back again. And then it changed to Fast and Furious. So... Exactly. I mean, the Lancer Evo is not a drift car. I own the Lancer Evo, so I know how well that thing handles. But drifting, not without a ton of specialty work on it.
Four-wheel
it's a great
drive.
time attack car, but it's just not a drifter.
If you want to drift, go buy a 240 or SX or something,
Yeah. Like I said, they went so out there with the whole concept. I mean, again, it's a huge money-making thing for whoever owns the rights to it.
What's up, Dave?
They like to call it the IP. Whoever owns the IP gets the money, and it's a huge, valuable IP. I watched the only all-wheel drive drifting I ever seen done really, really well was by a short Japanese dude who worked for Jun. If you guys are tuner history guys, you know Jun in Japan, what company I'm talking about. So Jun had a Subaru WRX drift car they sent to an event in Europe with this short guy with bad teeth. That's all I remember about him. Who's their pro drift driver, like pro rally driver. And this guy did like, he literally had the car 90 degrees, okay, on the turn the whole time. It was all-wheel drive, and he was drifting it. And at one point, he had the car going backwards, and then he pulled the front back around to start drifting it forwards again. It was insane. That was one of the old videos from like early 2000s when Europe was getting into drifting. It was the Jun Attack Subaru WRX or something that he was drifting. It was great. But other than that, I haven't seen many all-wheel drive cars that's not been customized into rear-wheel drive to drift. For example, I know that the current, what they call the Formula Drift, there is a GR Corolla that's rear-wheel drive in there that's doing pretty well. Well, that's not a drift car either. And the poor guys that own real GR Corollas trying to drift are having a hell of a time because it's not designed for it. So, little things like that. Like the little Japanese guy who makes. Let's not stereotype because we don't want to stereotype the Japanese guys as little. I mean, that guy legitimately looked short and chubby. And he was all smiles the whole time that he was doing it. The guy was great. I loved it. But let's not stereotype all Japanese guys, because I'm actually going to a Japanese friend's house for Labor Day, and I can tell you he's not short.
Talking about stereotypes, you guys gonna watch Godzilla? I think that was Japanese, right?
No, Angel, it's cool. I'm just saying. Whenever I'm the one stereotyping on the mic here, so I just want to specify that I'm not stereotyping that guy. He legitimately was short. That's why I called him a short Japanese guy, because I can't remember his name. But I respect him for his skills. I mean, the guy was crazy behind the wheel.
Yeah, drifting a four-wheel drive car would be rough unless you're on a dirt road or something.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can set up any car if you put enough money into it to drift. But yeah, I like Japanese cars. When I was in high school, I was a Japanese car guy. So, and when I went to college, I was a Japanese car guy. So I have nothing but love for Japanese cars. Even though I own an American muscle car or sports car at this point, I have a soft spot for all the classic Japanese cars. My dream car still to this day that I would still like to own at one point is the 1990s Acura NSX. I mean, I love that car.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it's just that they're priced sky high now that they're well out of my ability to own.
Angel does origami. Cool. I used to do that when I was a kid.
Ooh, origami.
I don't think I could make a paper snowflake now.
I tried it. I used to try origami. I even bought the book. And then I looked at all the cuts and turns, and I just, like, my brain exploded when I was looking at the drawings, and I never got into it.
I used to be able to make the crane. It was pretty cool.
Again, I think it's the impatience. I wanted to learn it really fast, and I just wasn't patient to sit down and slowly learn it. That's always been my issue. I'm a little quick to the, I like to learn it quick. I don't want to spend a whole ton of time learning it. Exactly. It's almost like it's like a Buddhist Zen thing, right? You have to focus and clear your mind and have the patience to do origami right. The folds have to be right. You have to take your time. You got to do the right folds. That's just so not me that I can't, I just can't do it. Yeah, I mean, Need for Speed, it's a video game. So again, they're going to have to take some liberties with cars. We're talking about in real life. Like, I've owned the Lancer Evolution 8 in real life. I've actually drag raced with someone who drag raced the Lancer Evo 9. She eventually took the car and left drag racing and went for time attack. So, the NSX is why I have a ZDX now. How did you go from NSX into a ZDX, William? That's a bit of a stretch. The ZDX is a SUV and the NSX is a sports car.
I don't even know what a ZDX is.
If I'm remembering correctly, the ZDX is like a slope back SUV that was supposed to compete with the BMW X vehicles. Old age.
Is it made by Acura?
Yeah, it's Acura. Yeah.
Okay. I don't like
I
SUVs
mean, I think,
too much.
correct me if I'm
honestly.
wrong, William. I'm going off memory here, and I might be, in my old age, I may not be remembering it right.
I don't know why, but I just don't like SUVs. Now, like an old school Bronco or something back in the day, I think those were cool. The old boxy ones. Those weren't really considered SUVs back then, but I don't know, man. I just don't like SUVs.
Yeah, not a SUV guy. Just not my thing.
I'd rather have a station wagon. I don't know.
I actually really wanted. I mean, you know, I thought about it, but of course I didn't end up going that route. If I didn't own the C8, if I don't own my current SUV, combined money value, I could have gotten the Audi RS6 Avant, right, as my only car. The problem is, of course, one, it's an Audi and maintenance will kill me, and two, it's so high strung and it's such a powerful car that even though it's all-wheel drive, I still be scared to drive it in the winter, in the snow. So, and you need specialized tires, and the thing runs like 21-inch wheels, and the tires are like $1,000 a piece. So, in the end, I decided to split, buy a cheap SUV and C8 Corvette and have car for winter, car for summer. Went that route. The 707 is a car in this game, actually.
Back in the early 2000s, I really used to want a Subaru station wagon. I was like, man, I want to put a body kit on that. Like, one of the Gran Turismo games actually had a Subaru station wagon. It was freaking cool, man. It had the body kit and the liveries and everything. I was like, that is the coolest looking car I've ever seen. I wanted to like make one of those so bad.
It was a Subaru Stega or something, STI, right?
No,
the wagon.
I think it was a. You can buy it now. I'm trying to remember the name of it. What's the Subaru wagon that's really popular? Not the
Outback?
Impreza. I'm pretty sure it was an Outback, wasn't it?
No. Back then it was the. If you're talking about Gran Turismo 3, that was a Subaru Stega or something like that. It's a Japan-only version of the Subaru wagon. It's not the WRX STI, which is off the Impreza.
I think it was Gran Turismo 2.
Oh, even more so. That was definitely not a Subaru that we got in the U.S. I remember that wagon. It had a low body kit. It was pretty squarish, turbocharged, and it rocked on the track. It was a great wagon.
It was white. I remember it was white, and I think it had like yellow liveries and stuff all over it. But
hold on, Gran Turismo 2, you said?
Pretty sure it was 2. Yeah.
You got me Googling now. Look at what you have done, Danny. Look at what you have done.
I remember a year or two ago, I was trying to look it up, and I couldn't really find anything about it. Damone says, Stagia. I probably said that wrong, didn't I? Stagia, Stajoa, Stabuja. Yeah, I'll shut up now.
Let's see. Gran Turismo 2 wagons. See, it's hard to even search stuff that far back from Gran Turismo.
It is. I just know it was a Subaru wagon of some sort. It was awesome.
Wagon Cup. Here we go. Wagon Cup. That usually lists all the ones that you end up having available for it. Oh, no. This is not. This is Gran Turismo 7. Poo. Boo. Oh, this is it. Subaru Legacy Wagon GTB.
Yes, it was a Legacy wagon.
Legacy wagon. I knew it wasn't the Subaru Impreza. It was the Legacy wagon.
I wanted one of those so bad. That thing was so cool.
Yep. That was Gran Turismo 2, and they had the Subaru. Yeah, it was a Legacy. Back then it was called the Legacy, and that was the Legacy GTB. And the Legacy was a car that we did get in the U.S., but we didn't get the wagon, nor did we get the turbo version. We got the cheesy Legacy in the U.S.
Yeah, the Legacy here never really... They were nice looking cars, but the crazy thing is the last time I saw a newer Legacy, I was like, that looks just like a Ford Focus.
Which one?
one of the newer legacies from probably about, I don't know, 2000, maybe around 2010-ish, I think. Like, it looks so much like a Ford. I even went to the dealership, and I was looking around. I'm like, that looks just like a Ford. And the guy's like, yeah, they kind of do look alike, don't they? And I was like, man,
Yeah.
the Legacy used to have a kind of a unique look to it back in the day.
Surprisingly, the Legacy plate is still around. You can get a 2024 Subaru Legacy.
What's crazy is I think they have the same engine as the Impreza, even though they're bigger and heavier. Uh-oh.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, which means they're slower and use more gas. So,
yeah,
but it's more luxurious.
I'd rather just buy the Impreza.
I hate to tell you, man, the new one's pretty homely looking.
Jedi,
it's
have a good one.
It's not a pretty car.
The new what, Impreza or the new
Legacy? The new Legacy is so homely looking. It's not a pretty car.
I haven't looked for a while. Yeah, some of these new cars do not look nice. I like the old boxier cars. I don't know. To me, they had more style. These more like rounded aerodynamic cars, a lot of them sort of look similar.
All right, if you like the boxy cars, my choice of boxy from the 90s is the GMC Typhoon.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would totally rock a GMC Typhoon. That's the only SUV I would like.
I want like a Mark II GTI or something, man. Those were cool.
Mark II GTI. Those are cool though. I mean, those are very classic. They're slow, but they're, yeah, you get the Typhoon. So the Typhoon, the Buick Regal GNX, and stuff like that. That's a very much a domestic U.S. thing. If you're not the U.S. guy, you may not even know what the hell they are. But man, were you stoned all the time, Max? I've never done drugs, dude. I've never even smoked weed. I don't
Gosh
do that
dang
stuff.
it, I guarantee you've taken a Tylenol.
Wow. If we count medically induced comas and stuff, then yeah, a little different. But I'm talking about like the stuff that people normally think of when you think of Breaking Bad.
You tell me you never done their ayahuasca or had them DMTs or some of their crack cocaines?
My PCP laced with LSD, pumped up in a little heroin with a little crack on top. No, I have not. No, sir. Have not tried it.
Good. Stuff's not good for you.
I had a roommate that did.
CD4, have a great day, buddy.
I found out
What's
some
up,
sad
Skies?
news recently.
Uh-oh.
Talking about drugs. I had a roommate who got into it, okay, in college. Smart guy. And I left college. He dropped out. I left college. I never seen him again or heard about him. So out of curiosity, my friend and I, who are both former roommates of his, decided to look him up. We're pretty sure, based on our research, he passed away at age 31. Some 10 years ago. Or 20 years ago now. So it tells you that, because he got into some of the heavier stuff during college. And
yeah,
we knew when we first left college he was working at ShopRite and stuff. But then, now we go back to research because we're curious how he turned out. Well, guess what? Life wasn't good to him. Let's put it that way.
I have a couple friends who got on heroin and they're not around anymore.
Now, it's not. I mean, people kind of have different positions on that stuff, but my position is, if it's not good for you, probably not good for you to get into.
Like,
if
one
everybody
friend
says it's bad for you, it's probably not good for you to get into.
My one friend hated drug dealers so much, he wanted to become a police officer just so he could bust all the drug dealers, and next thing you know, he's on heroin and he dies. It's crazy. I mean, he was the last person I ever thought would get on that stuff. I mean, he absolutely hated drugs, but I guess he started dating a girl and she was into it, and somehow
that's how my buddy started. He got a girlfriend that's into it, and the girl got him into it, and that was that.
Like, if I was dating a girl and I found out she was into that stuff, I would dump her immediately. I would say, you know what, get out. We're done. Go away.
Millen's like, oh God, my joke. Now they're on like a huge tangent. Look at this. Yeah. All right. We'll get back on the regular stuff. But the Cyclone, JP, the Cyclone and the Typhoon. The Typhoon's the SUV version of the Cyclone. The Cyclone is the truck. Both are awesome. Both are super expensive if you're gonna try to get one now. And both crushed sports cars of its day in the straight line. So just like the Buick GNX was crushing all kinds of cars in its day, the Rego GNX, which nobody, anybody who knows about those cars knows that they're no joke. You don't play with them. And I see them over at the old timers cars and coffee all the time, and I love those. I walk up to the GNX and the good old Typhoons and stuff. I'm like, man, if only I could own one of those, But it's not in the budget. Ford Lightning, the old Ford Lightnings were really cool. The one generation that was crazy is right in the 90s, the supercharged Lightning. I had a mechanic friend that owned a 700 horsepower supercharged Lightning, and he said every time I took it down the drag strip, I almost crap in my pants. So I decided to get rid of it.
That's crazy.
Because light rear end, big horsepower, okay, and drag strip does not make it easy. That truck tried to kill him every time he stepped on it. So, but it was a fun truck. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to drive something that tried to kill me.
Yeah, the current Ford Lightning's on recall. It might burn up. But yeah, GNX. The GNX is what I was talking about earlier. The Buick Regal Grand National GNX is it's a phenomenal car. It's so underrated. It's a V6. It's like people pop the hood. Oh, it's a V6. It's like, dude, you don't know. And that's where turbocharged 6-cylinders. When people look at turbocharged 6-cylinders, they're like, turbo 6. I got a V8. Listen, the turbo 6 has been doing damage to V8s for a long time. So that's nothing new.
Yeah.
The Scirocco was a cool car, but it just never caught on in the U.S. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be around anymore because the Golf is the only one left, really.
I like the old ones from like the 80s. The 1980s Scirocco's were really cool.
I mean, supercharged, William. That's what I meant. Supercharged. The GNX is supercharged, not turbo. Actually, no. My friend's version was turbo. I think it's aftermarket. He turboed it. His GNX was turbo. But point is, the Ford Lightning was supercharged, but the GNX I saw was turbocharged. Of course, I think they came supercharged first.
Sven's, I do have a video on how to set up this car you might want to look up. It probably goes into a little more detail on how to drive it and do different things with it. Right now, though, there's probably people in the lobby wanting to race me, so I can't really leave the lobby and leave them all behind.
I used to like the Conquest. That's the Mitsubishi Starion, and the Conquest was like the Dodge Conquest. That's when Dodge and Mitsubishi were sharing cars. Remember the Dodge Stealth and the Mitsubishi 3000 GT were basically the same cars.
Yes.
That was a cool time. But the Starion's a very cool car as well. Or Dodge Conquest, either one you want to call it.
I used to want a 240 so bad back in the day.
What, the Nissan?
Yeah.
240SX?
Yeah, the twin turbo one. Oh man, those were cool.
Oh, the 300Z. You're talking about the 300Z.
Oh, 300, yeah, 300Z. I'm sorry.
Yeah. My mechanic I just went to get a oil change at last week. He has two 300Zs that he's been working on over the years. They both run, but the one is almost ready for paint. Like he's been restoring it for years. He's a friend of mine. We always talk cars, and every time I'm at his shop, I watch the progression of that 300Z.
Now that's something that takes patience.
Yes, yeah, and take mechanical know-how. That car is not easy to work on. It has like no space in the engine bay. All right, Angel, have a good one.
Later, Angel.
Oh yeah, I mean the Stealth didn't look like the 3000 GT much. They definitely had their own unique body to each, but it's the same car underneath. So the Dodge Stealth was Dodge's version of the look, and then Mitsubishi had the 3000 GT look.
I think I used to own a 1989 and a 1990 Civic hatchback back in the day. Those were fun cars. I also had a CRX at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're like a Honda guy. You've had quite a few Hondas.
Oh man, I used to love Hondas back when I was younger. When I was like 20 years old, I was all about it. I came really close to buying one of those like B22A engines to put in it, but I was like, that's just a lot of money. And I didn't really make much money back then, so it would have been fun, but it would have probably just ended up in the junkyard eventually anyways, so that's the one thing that sucks about spending money on cars, is eventually they break down and they get old. And I mean, I guess if you got a lot of money, you can always keep up on it, but I've never had I've never been a person that made enough money to really do that type of thing. Chris Fall, what's up?
Yeah, hey, Mustang GTD, you're talking about the new Boss Mustang that's coming out? That's actually a decent car too, out of the American Road Trip. The Boss Mustang, the classic one, that's decent. The Huna truck's decent. The the Bel Air's good. I mean, the Mustang's good. I shouldn't just say decent. It's actually good. All those, like I said, we got a lot of good cars in this American Road Trip series.
You know what? I saw yesterday in real life. I didn't realize it, but Ford started making Rangers again, and somebody had a Roush edition. I was like, whoa, what is that?
Like, well, Roush is technically an aftermarket company. They just take the, but they're like supported by Ford. Just like RTR is, you see RTR Mustangs, they're basically aftermarket. And there are a few other versions of, quote, aftermarket, but factory supported, like back in the day, Denon for BMW, and even Callaway for Corvettes. Those kind of things.
Ricky Spanish, hey, he says buy a Toyota. I've actually got a 2005 Toyota right now, and it's been a really freaking good car. Really good car.
The truth is, if you want a car that lasts a long time, the newer cars are not going to last as long simply because there's just too much electronics in it.
Yes.
So, things are not set up the same way anymore.
What's kind of crazy is that, we set these new things up because they're going to get better gas mileage and stuff. Well, the truth is they're not really getting better gas mileage. I mean, my old Civic hatchback would get the same amount of gas mileage as these new cars. So what they're doing is just making it so you can't work on cars yourself, so parts cost more money. I feel like they're just intentionally screwing you over by making everything the way they're making it.
I think the only benefit of new cars, and this is absolutely true, is safety. These new cars are much, much safer. I would not want to have a crash in a 1990 Civic hatchback versus a 2023 Civic hatchback. Let's put it that way.
I agree with you.
Not that they have a Civic hatchback, but you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, but also the new cars are huge. So the Civic is the size of the older Accords at this point.
What about a smart car? Would you drive a smart car?
You're not too smart if you buy a smart car.
You know what's funny is when those were first supposed to be coming out, they advertised this huge amount of gas mileage. And when they came out, it was like, man, it's not any better than like your average little car.
Yeah.
Like, why would you just buy that? It's cool looking. I mean, it would be kind of fun to drive one, but it's definitely not worth the money. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so the best stage 6s for the Nissans. as usual, it's for both Nissans. It's actually body, because these cars. You have to understand Tier 5. Generally speaking, body and transmission tend to be the strongest stage 6s recently. But the older ones, generally body tend to be number one for that stuff. And then both Nissans get quite a bit of drop from body. So body's a strong stage 6.
Also, I forgot. I was going to say something. I forget
Don't buy
it.
Chevy, they burn oil. Well, don't buy BMW. They burn oil coming from the factory.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know how many BMW guys I talk to, their car burns oil. Like, oh, I got to add a quart every so often. It's why? Because it's designed to burn oil. I talked to a BMW mechanic. He told me, they're designed to burn oil. I said, really?
If I were to...
He said, yeah.
They are? Why?
Yeah, they're designed to burn some oil because that's how BMW likes it.
You know, if I were going to get a new car, I would lease it. I would not buy it because, I don't know, leasing payments are cheaper and, well, the way the new stuff is designed, I don't expect it to be reliable.
Now, oh, you know what's funny? This is how crazy the Germans are, okay? Germans care about that weight balance thing, right? But they also do crazy stuff in their engines. So my mechanic has a old Audi S4 V8, and he had it all torn up. My buddy had it all torn up, and he was complaining to me. He said, listen, they have, instead of one timing chain, they have 3. And he said, and you know what they made the chain guides out of? Plastic. And he said, what do you think happens after 70,000 miles of heat from that engine and cooling down on that plastic? Well, it decided to break, throwing the chain and then instantly grenading his motor. He said, I don't know why the Germans do this. BMWs put plastic water pumps in their cars, and Audi puts plastic timing chain guides. He said, you don't have timing chain issues in Acuras. If they have a timing belt, you have to replace it, like the Honda NSX has a belt rather than a chain. But he said, but any chain in the Japanese motors, you never have to replace, really. The guides are not made out of plastic. But he said, but the Germans, plastic. They like plastic. Plastic in tanks on their radiators that blow up. Plastic propellers on their water pump that blows up.
Yeah.
Plastic chain guides on their timing chain. It's like, well, why did they love plastic? So
I remember we had some sort of a car where the water pump had the plastic propellers, and they they ate away after a while.
Yeah, they disintegrate inside.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they get in your system and blows up everything else. It's great. So one of the things about BMW was my old BMW mechanic was funny. He said, make sure you replace that water pump on their schedule, because if you don't, it's going to break up inside your motor and you're going to need a new motor. Or you're going to
probably do it on
need
purpose.
New stuff. So, because unlike us, okay, in America, and I learned this living here, is that we tend to delay maintenance because it costs money, right? You're like, the car will run another 1,000 miles without an oil change. The German mentality is extremely different. The Germans, when the oil change is due, the Germans will do it. Okay? They're like, it's time to do it. You do it. Okay? If the volcano's exploding, hell's freezing over, but your oil change is due, we do it. That's how Germans are. Americans are not like that. So Germans maintaining German cars don't break down because they follow the maintenance schedule. Not Americans. We don't follow their schedule well, and then our cars break down. So, and plastic saves weight. That's exactly why BMW does it. They want that 50-50 weight balance. And if it means that your radiator has to blow up every 60,000 miles, so be it. Replace it.
German engineering at its best. It's supposed to be the greatest in the world.
It's the best. And German engineered window regulators apparently blow up on a regular basis too. So
crazy.
Yeah, and I like BMWs. I really do. I just know from talking to the guys that work on them, that's what happens. It's like, hey, you got the money to buy the car, make sure you maintain it.
I wonder, out of all the car brands, like if you were to go out and buy a car right now, which one would last? Which one would be the most reliable year after year, right? Subaru,
Lexus.
Toyota, Hondas.
Lexus. Toyota brought to level of perfection is Lexus.
Yeah, Lexus has always been extremely good.
Extremely good.
I still wonder, like, are they still making things with the, the high quality standards like they used to? Because a lot of companies aren't.
I believe Lexus still is, because out of all the brands I've interacted with, friends, family, just clients, I've never had somebody come to my office or talk at a barbecue and say, I hate my Lexus. It breaks down all the time. Nobody has ever said that.
Yeah.
Ever. And I owned a Lexus too, and I put 100,000 miles on it, and that thing never needed anything but oil change. No issues. And when I sold it, it was running great. Except I sold it for a Hyundai, so I downgraded it a little bit. But I needed a bigger SUV, and the Lexus was getting old, so I did that. But if Lexus made a sports car that was decent and I can afford, I would totally buy it. But Lexus has this habit of making really good, reliable cars that are luxurious but not very sporty, which is the only reason I can't own them yet.
I've heard Honda's gone downhill a lot. I don't know if they have or not, but I've heard quite a few people who have got Hondas over the last 10 years saying they're not what they used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're talking non-hybrid, crazy turbocharged cars from Lexus. Mine was a V6 NA motor that's been around forever in the GS350. That car was bulletproof. I loved it. Nothing went wrong with it. It's all regular maintenance. So, but, and you know what's interesting? My neighbor told me something. He said, the most reliable car to you is the car that you own that didn't break down on you.
Yes.
He said, it doesn't matter what brand it is. You'll think it's reliable because you didn't experience a breakdown. And he said that goes for any mechanical stuff. You could buy the best brand in the world. If you bought a Lexus and it broke down the next day, you will hate Lexus. You say Lexus is unreliable. It's junk. But if you bought a Hyundai that lasted 10 years without ever breaking down, you'd be like, oh, Hyundai's super reliable. It's perspective too. So that's something to keep in mind. We all come from our experience, and so far my experience with Lexus has been great.
I wish there was somewhere that really kept good statistics and all this stuff. I mean, if you try and look stuff online, like most reliable brands, they're showing you the brand new model and say, this is the most reliable car according to JD Power. How do you know it's brand new? How do you know it's reliable, right?
They do that cheesy survey thing, so...
It's crap.
Yeah.
If a new model comes out, you're not going to... 10 years from now, you might be able to tell me whether or not it was reliable, but a new model comes out, you cannot tell me if that's going to be a reliable car or not, because nobody knows.
Oh, William, I know exactly what you're talking about. The good news is I own a Corvette, and Corvettes are designed for older guys, even though it's a sports car. So I'm hoping in 10 years, Corvette will still be doing me favors rather than disfavors. Now, of course, I have to stay fit enough. If I need hip and knee replacements, I can't even get in my Corvette. But outside of that, I should be all right. So I'm hoping that years from now, the Corvette's still holding its own with the not just performance but also comfort.
Yuri says, "How do you pay for the insurance?"
Believe it or not, Corvette's insurance with the Corvette added barely bumped my insurance. Versus if I bought for example, a car that's popular with young kids, that's going to kill my insurance. So actually, surprisingly, Corvette, because most Corvette drivers don't crash their Corvette on a regular basis, the insurance isn't as bad as you think.
No, if you got a Dodge Viper,
Mustang, that might be a whole different story. Dodge Viper? Yeah, that's mostly because the parts are more exotic. I think it costs more just for that. I mean, Corvette's a production line car. You can get parts relatively cheap to replace. Relative being relative, right? It's not cheap to replace by any stretch of the imagination, but compared to a Viper, it's cheaper.
Ricky says, don't trust the reviews from JD Power. I don't really trust reviews from anything or top 10 list, honestly. Like, if you go out and you type in, like, best this or that on the internet and you look at the top 10 or the top 20 list, it's like it's the same. Every website has the same article. It's like they just copied and pasted it and then reworded a few things. And maybe like, replace item number 2 with a different item. You know what I mean? It's like the same crap over and over. And it's so inaccurate. Just like I'm into microphones, and pretty much every microphone top 10 list says the best microphone you can get for a budget is the Blue Yeti. That is not the best microphone you can get. Yet it's on every single top 10 list saying it's the best budget microphone. You can't trust those. It's not just microphone lists. It's like everything. Like, you actually know something about a product, and then you see this junk on the top 10 list that you know is junk, then you're like, okay, this can't be right.
So, Melon, the new Mustang Boss that's coming, that's a T5, part of the American road trip, that's going to be a good Mustang. Just that's the one I'm talking about. It's a Pontiac Fiero. Thanks, Ricky. It in some sense, the Fiero is like the granddaddy of the mid-engine, GM cars. So you can't really discount that car's history as one of the first mid-engine GMs. But I don't think the Corvette is a Fiero necessarily. That's being really rude, calling my Corvette a Fiero.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left on the stream, everybody. So if you guys got some last-minute questions, get them on in there, because 10 more minutes. Then I got to get off here, do some stuff, get some breakfast. Then I got to work on some couple shift pattern videos I got to try and get done over today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I got some friends coming over, so I'm off the computer for the rest of the day. But it was fun joining you again.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about this before. We'll try to do this once a month.
Yeah, for sure. Man. These
especially
are
with
awesome.
the big events coming, there'll be a lot of questions coming up in the next few weeks once the event gets going.
I think I'm going to post a live racing setup for the Honda NSX-R.
Yeah, that's still a popular car with a lot of people.
Yeah, somebody was asking me about that today, and I kind of went and looked through my videos, and I couldn't find one where I made a live racing setup for it. So I'm like, you know what? I should probably do that. It was kind of a weird setup, different than what I was expecting. I think there was like more tier 3 or tier 4 parts installed than I expected. I should say stage 3 or stage 4, but I found something that seems like it does really well.
The Corvair. Yes, I don't go back that far, but the Corvair is one of the first mid-engine cars from GM.
Never had one of those.
Of course, they're paid cars. The paid cars are the good ones this time, huh? Well, no, but the IROC is going to be good. I'm looking forward to winning that IROC. As soon as that event goes live, I'm going to blow right through it because I have all the cars maxed. I'm going to be ready for that IROC Camaro. It actually looks good too. That's the beauty of that car. It actually looks good. It's going to run good. It's a classic, so it's not like one of those modern cars you're running. Definitely a winner in my book.
I just want that Bel Air. I wonder when that Bel Air is going to be available.
It's probably one of the next legs coming up. It's it's going to be its own side event or something.
Yeah.
Or it's a lock-in you can buy versus a lock-in that you may already have as an option. They may do it down that path. We'll have to see. Third event. All right, cool.
All right, hold on a second.
Listen, I like the Dodge Viper in real life, but even in real life, the Dodge Viper has never been able to do well on a track compared to, say, a Z06 Corvette. That's the issue. I'm a baby. Yeah, I'm young, man. I think in another 20 years I may have an issue getting into the Corvette, but I think another 10 I should still be good. I'm actually trying to stay healthy and fit too, but I think I can get in my vet for the next 10 years. Oh yeah, more Baldur's Gate coming for sure. I actually, now that I played it and I've watched some of these guys doing all these crazy meta builds in Baldur's Gate, I'm gonna do videos simply telling you simple stuff how to do it, because you know, it's easy to have all the gear in Baldur's Gate and then have these crazy builds, but when you're trying to get there, it's actually more important to know, you know, what'll help you kind of survive until you get to that cool build range. But yeah, I'm loving Baldur's Gate. It's such a great game. I'm definitely making more videos. Did you see the one where Volo poked my eyeball out? That was fun. So in the game, right, you get this idiot who joins your party or joins your camp, and you have to understand the whole history and lore of the Baldur's Gate. Volo is supposed to be this guy that writes guides, kind of like a YouTuber of that realm, that tells you all about everything, except he's a, you know, blowhard. So he joins me, and then I made a video where he says, I can cure you because I've dreamt 1,000 times of how to remove this thing from your brain. So he wants to do brain surgery on you through your eyeball. And if you watch the video, it's hilarious. He ends up popping your eye out instead of fixing you.
That sounds awful.
And then he gives you a magical eye as a replacement. So I did it because I want the magical eyeball. It gives you special ability in the game. But the whole video was like, you know, they cinematized the whole process, and they did a great job. It was great. So check out that video. It's actually pretty funny watching them poke you in the eye and your reactions. And some of the comments you can make as part of the game is hilarious too.
I think I'd rather have my eyeball.
I mean, like, I would never do that in real life, but I just thought it was hilarious in the game. They actually thought to make this guy try to cure you by poking you in the eye with, you know, stuff. And then end up at the end, it still works out as a positive event, even though,
yeah,
like most players, as soon as they see him doing damage, you'll be like, stop, because that's one of the options. You could tell him to stop.
Oh, really?
But instead, I just went, keep going, man. I'll suffer the pain. Just do it. Just do it. And then as your eyeball plops into the mud, I was like, oh my god, he popped my eye out. So, anyway.
I mean,
it's
I
a whole
wouldn't
different
mind
game.
having a magical eyeball, depending on what it did, but...
Yeah, but it's like permanently a different color. I couldn't tell my character because she already had that color eye. But then I read up about it, and apparently if you had red eyes, now it's green. Like you permanently has a green eye as one of your eyes now. But
so does it really give you a big advantage to get it?
Well, yeah, you can see invisible creatures permanently.
Ah.
I mean, that's normally something you have to like get as a spell in the game. This is fantasy stuff, so you know you would have cast a spell, and then you have enemies that can turn invisible and attack you, and you can't see them. In this case, I could see them, so it's great. Yes, it's coming out next week for PS5, and I'm gonna probably make 1 or 2 guide videos to help guys on PS5 avoid some of the pitfalls when you first start that game, because there's some things you really should do and some things that doesn't really matter, and people are gonna jump at chances to do things and they'll forget about some of the important things. Like, you know, anyway, that's not for this game, so we'll talk about that on my video.
I don't think
Any
I
more
like that
CSR2 questions before we have to go?
I don't think I'm going to install all of the pink parts on this thing because I probably don't need them.
Yeah, I would say if you've got all the stage 6s, just put green and blue in and put only pinks in as needed as you get stuck.
I'm missing one stage 6.
The best way. Yeah, I mean, you want to tune the car first before you put the pinks in, because you want to see which pink fusion gives you the most evo gain for the fusion, so that you're putting in the right pink fusions. Because without tuning, some of them show a high number, but once you tune it, it actually doesn't. So, yeah, you want to play around with that a little bit. What is this? The Tiffany?
No, the 911 GT3 Touring, the Prestige Cup
Oh, the
car.
Touring. Oh, I'm not looking forward to having to build and use that thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I have a
It's
video
not.
on that car already.
It's not very
Out.
good. It's
I
like
don't
your
remember
typical.
liking it.
It's your typical. It's okay, but I'm not going to use it again.
Yeah, exactly. That's way too many of the cars in the game. Like, oh, it's cool to use every once in a while, but then it just sits there and collects dust forever.
Yeah, you have 600 T5s, and maybe 15 are really useful.
Yeah.
So I've had
Kinda
cars that
crazy.
I literally have like 1 mile on it because I had to use it for some event for a little bit, and then I've never used it
milers.
again. Yeah, and plenty of 0 milers too. We have a lot of cars that are sitting at 0 miles because I never used it. It's like, I won it. Congratulations. Now it goes in the back garage.
I'll put the... yeah. I'm talking to myself now. This felt like a very long live stream today, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, pretty quick.
Some days they go really fast. Other days it seems like it takes a while, but it feels more like a 3 hour than a 2 hour today.
Wow. I think we didn't have as many questions, so it's more of us chatting rather than a lot of question answering.
I know. I mean, some days though, time just feels like it goes by slower than other days, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It depends on it's all also depend on your mood and how you're feeling, right? The worst is when you're waiting for something to happen. That's like the slowest time ever.
Yes.
It's like, I
Yeah,
really
I didn't
want this
feel
to be
too
done,
good.
and and you can't move the clock.
I didn't feel too good last night, and I hardly got any sleep, so that's probably
Oh,
why it
when
feels
you're
like a
tired, it's the worst. Yeah,
long
everything
day.
feels slower. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, that's the worst when you're missing sleep and then you're trying to get through something. You're like, oh my god, come on. That second
Ah,
hand on the clock, it's moving backwards.
got the Snake Sport Focus. Congratulations, that's a very cool car. Very cool car. I like it. Yeah. What's my height? Oh, I'm 9 foot 17 inches, I think. I'm a giant. Nah, I'm like what, 5'6", I think. I'm short. I'm like 5'6". I'll tell you what, my dad shrunk because he used to be taller than me. Now I think I'm taller than him. Huh. As far as I know, I haven't shrunk yet. David, catch you later, buddy. Radio says how to get out of if you lobby jumped. So if the game took your car and put it into a lobby where you can't win anymore, you kind of gotta do a bunch of races by going slower than the dyno time, and it helps if you can win some of those. So maybe find somebody to swap with and make sure you run faster than the dyno, and eventually it'll push you backwards into a slower lobby. It's a pain in the butt to reset lobbies these days, though. Yeah. What just happened? Max? Where'd you go, buddy? We lost Max, I think. Or what? Hello? Everything stopped. I'm confused here. Max, are you there? I just closed something on my computer and... Oh, wait a second. Max says I can hear you. I can't hear you. I don't know what just happened. I lost all sound on the PC for some reason. I closed down the emulator and all the sound stopped. This is really weird. I don't know. So you can't hear Max now either. That's weird. I think something's having a malfunction, so crap. That is still on. What did I do, man? I closed the game and everything went haywire. This doesn't make sense. Let me check something really quick. No, I'm still on the right thing. Did the Discord change? Let me check the Discord. Voice and video, default. Max, can you hear me? Can I hear you? I don't know. Well, we're pretty much ending anyways. I don't know what the heck just happened, but Max says he can hear me. That's very strange. All right, everybody. Well, I think that's going to wrap this one up. I'm glad the malfunction didn't happen till the end of the stream, at least. That makes it a bit better, but yeah. I will catch you guys later. Thank you all so much for being here and all that good stuff. You guys are all amazing. I appreciate all of you a lot. Our 2 hours is a little bit over. We're a little past our 2 hours. So unfortunately, Anna, hey, unfortunately, you're coming right at the end. But yeah, it's time to end this thing. So thank you so much, everybody. You guys are amazing. We will catch you later. I'll be back next week on Friday and Sunday again. So hope to see you guys there. Max, I'm going to try to switch over to my phone here in a minute. See if I can get you on there because I don't know what the heck just happened. But yeah. All right. Catch you guys